welcome to Fort Morgan. This recent star fort I visited, we have a date that they give us of 1819 to 1834, and inside here you can kind of see something else is going on, it seems. A fortification, they say that was the style back then, protecting from the enemy. Here's the oldest in America, they say, 1672 in St. Augustine. Fort Gaines, 1821. It makes the top 10 in the oldest star forts in America. And I've also been to Fort Pickens, 1834. That's actually on the Florida side. I think one of the main questions that should be asked is, how is this accomplished? 1819, they just went and got, I think, around, say, 2,000 to 3,000 slaves, Mason slaves. Walk around and you find things that really don't make sense as far as how the brick is turned and what everything looks like in this geometric, precise star fort. So a period over 15 years, you're just going to randomly go get some slaves and put this immaculate building together. What are these bricks doing? They look like they've changed from heat. Some kind of different event that they're talking about. That's just what it looks like. And here you can see the construction of the concrete besides the brick. They say that was 1895, added in 1895. Does look a little off and twisted. You'd think you would make it more straight, but when you look closely at these concrete looking things, structures, you still have brick. Looks like maybe possibly the whole thing, most of it was brick. The pictures they give us, sketchy at best. This was supposed to be used in many wars, mostly the Civil War. Was this actually something that was built in the early 1800s, or was it founded, and they put a bunch of stories on it, possibly used or not? Just the actual means that they tell us. Rail systems here covered in what looks like concrete. When you're looking at this stuff really closely, did it really happen by erosion or war, or any of the narratives they're actually telling us? You've got these with brick internals, and just comparing to the next one to it, it's covered, but the whole thing has brick internals. And what are bricks? They've been proven to store energy. Brick batteries. They name tons of this stuff batteries. So what was the real purpose of this? Look at the entrance, the first tunnel. Geometric precision. Why would you ever do that back in 1819? Just because it was a style back then? But looking closer at the bricks, they call erosion. Everything you walk on here is brick. 30 to 40 million bricks, they say. Here's a shot of 1997, I think, of a hurricane. But that doesn't happen too much. But nothing's going to do that, what we're seeing with these bricks. And however they explain it, it's not going to change the brick to like that. So in my opinion, star forts were something else. Much more grander scale than what we're seeing here. Probably went way down further.
Then you have the section supposed to be in 1865 with the iron and the concrete and other materials, and they say they got this from, I believe, the New York area, which is strange. This was supposed to be the area of those huge gun turrets. Do you see the iron plates? And some are symmetrical around and some are not. It seems like they don't fit what they're saying the gun's mounted on. Closer up, the iron and looks very heat damaged in my opinion. Some of the concrete looking stuff covering some of them and twisted. So you have this immaculate structure, tons of brick. What did they say? How did they cut these bricks? Good old chisel and grinding wheel. Hand cranked or foot cranked, take your pick. But that's the actual narrative they give us. Just imagine 30 to 40 million bricks. Then, on most of them, you have to cut. I mean, that in itself just
What
defies all
exactly would
logic.
that be for here?
Just insane to me. But that's the narrative they give us.
Right here. Just comes over, swirls down into nothing.
There's so many of these all over the world. Hundreds and hundreds of star forts. Earliest one being, I think, in the early 1400s or mid 1400s over in Europe, all the way through 1800s, early 1800s. So you had people doing the same thing with billions of bricks, by the way. Just don't see that happening. Not with the narrative they give us. And these things, it's all brick internals. Say they be used for cannons or gun mounts or whatever. What actually changes the brick to look like this? It's some kind of cataclysm that we haven't been taught, and they put these narratives.
So here it looks like it's one of those. It used to be here. It's granite. Leftover brick. Completely devastated right here. Looks like high heat. I've never been bitten by so many mosquitoes in my entire life. It's like a bloodbath, look. Crazy. Maybe the steepest stairs I've ever been on. I mean, it's got to be, I don't know, 1.5 feet or so. You got 40 million bricks, you think you can make a better stair system. Not getting up those quick. So nothing around here, just water, obviously, all the way around. And then it's 20 miles that way until you get to this point at the end. 200 slaves, 40 million bricks, 70,000 pallets. Each pallet weighs roughly a ton, up to 2,200 pounds. Horse and cart in the sand. So I have to make fun of this picture a little bit. This is one of the guns, supposedly, in the battery there, or whatever they call it, but... Alright. Well, do you need a whole cart for this one shell? To me, I think one of these guys right here could probably handle maybe max 2 guys. So you're gonna cart this one shell all the way over here, then there's steps. So, maybe if this thing was huge, I could see some kind of a cart. But, I'm no expert at or anything else, but this doesn't make sense right here. Like, how lazy you gotta be to cart this one shell around.
So here is a good example to me of what the brick is doing and changing here that really can't be explained with any of the narratives they're talking about, erosion or anything. Even have some over here. It looks like it's crystallizing a little bit. But look at this brick. Look what it's changing into, all of them. This is one whole brick right here. This is changing into some kind of rock. Here's a second entrance. You go through the first tunnel, and this is held up quite nicely through the years, apparently. But you have a date here, what they give you, of 1833. This here looks extremely heat damaged to me. You have all brick internals right here. You can see it, the outer covering. But what does this to these, what they say, I guess, are some kind of stone plates here? So what's really going on? The amount of brick is insane. It's everywhere. This whole complex, it's all you walk on. In this room here, does wear and tear or any kind of erosion do this? Or looks like heat from the bottom, almost bubbling these bricks up. Up top here, the different transitioning of the brick. These steps are crazy. It's like almost 2 feet and only maybe a foot long. It's quite dangerous, actually, if you're trying to run up these things for whatever kind of war they're saying. These huge blocks, this granite. You have your iron here and here. I guess they're supposed to go core this out somewhere. In the 1800s, it's no problem. 20-mile peninsula and in the sand, or just put it on a boat. It's fine. It's no problem. And this here, this was all once red brick. It's changed to this. Some kind of electric heat cataclysm. Also with this, where the iron was, now you just see a little bit of reddish tint melt left. Another angle here. You can see little pieces of brick still left in this blob of mess. This little chimney thing here, look down at it, and it goes probably at least 20 feet down. Not sure where it comes out, but in the condition of these bricks, what happened here? It's all mangled and changed into little pieces of rock, but you can still see the pieces of brick. I'm going to call weathering does not do that. And looking at these pieces closer, what does that? War, time, or a heat cataclysm? Here on the side of this granite, this was obvious brick, in my opinion. You can still see the little pieces of red stuff in it, but Why is this stuff here? What happened to it? You got some of this major blackening here on the side of this. So in past videos, I've shown multiple examples of what I think these are just the brick lines left over, not bore hole or drill hole from quarrying. I think the cataclysm just made it look like this. It just hasn't completely covered up. It's just on this one side here. I didn't see them on any other huge granite blocks. This was the only one, but look at this brick. You can tell that all this was brick up here. You see all the lines, the indentions, and what it transitioned to right here. Here's a wall here, and you can see the outer covering and what the bricks are doing here, and it's almost like they're blocking up. It's just a stage where they did not block up, in my opinion. Yeah, these mortarless here and all this mess. Was this fried? I don't. In the build, they say they added in 1895 all this part, and they got parts from New York and up that way somewhere, which is really strange to me. It can produce 30 to 40 million bricks in this county with hardly any people. Of course, it was contracted by the U.S. Army and originally, but with slaves, not the Army guys, just some slaves. This part right here, they say they kept all the gunpowder and stuff in. And these, the narrative says, which are kind of covered up by these stairs, but say that was for ventilation, for all the gunpowder and what have you. A closer shot of that, where they supposedly kept the gunpowder and stuff. And the supposed ventilation holes, and these bricks seem to be blackened here. This one's yellow. What causes this? Here inside one of the buildings, notice these stone on top. You can see that was brick internals. You can see still the red and barely the lines here. So the whole thing's brick internals with the outer covering. But what happened here? Why does this look like this? Yeah, you could have hammered it off or got damaged somehow, but really look at it. What's going on here? This looks melted, re-solidified. See the difference between this one and this one? And back then, look at this geometric precision, exactness. You're going to do all this in 1819? And many star forts are even supposedly older than that. And you're on a peninsula, on sand. Is this from salt water and rain and wind? No way. Brick just doesn't change like this. I've seen brick buildings that were built 50, even 100 years ago that I know for a fact. And I've seen them. I grew up in one of them. And guess what? The brick still looks the same, even from 100 years ago. Is there this just fine line of, 110, 150 years, and it just does this? Let's just get out of there with that BS. That brick doesn't just change like this. Not from weathering. Okay? This is just some random stuff off the side in front of the fort.
It looks really hammered and melted to me. I don't know what it was for. I'm not even worried about looking it up, but it's heavily damaged. See, all these mounds, everything around, it's all, if you dig, it's just brick and rock. Just imagine the logistics trying to do this. And I didn't get to see everything there. The mosquitoes it was hell, actually. So I was short about an hour. I had to get out of there. And that's another thing. How are they going to be prepared for war, and then you're getting just ate up with mosquitoes? Which I'm sure, in the wintertime it's not like that. But anyway, still have brick in these concrete looking structures all over the grounds here at Fort Morgan. And to me, I think all this was brick internals, most of it. Of course, you have iron and all that other stuff, but it fades into these bricks, same colors, everything. It's just my opinion. I do think these that were said to be 1895 construction, I personally think they were already there. I could be totally wrong, but it all looks like the same time period of whenever it was built to me. But regardless, the actual Star Fort itself is much older than what they tell us. And we did not build that. I say we, the U.S. Army or whoever, with slaves. It just makes zero sense. I was in the museum, and this is the lens off of what it's not there anymore. They said it was a lighthouse, but pretty incredible lens here. Do not touch. So they're saying that this is the only thing they have about where the bricks came from. So it's a Weeks Brickyard in the same county as this was in. They say, I've tried to look up this brickyard. Of course, this is 1826 or before. It's just saying they made them in the same county, but I can't find anything on this actual brick yard. I took this, my phone is a little glary up here, but this was inside the museum. But same thing with most black and whites, old pictures. This guy looks like he's got a pirate hat on here. Not sure what's going on there. Just chilling. Just three guys down here. They got all kind of different hats. This guy just looks like standing at attention. He's leaning in to fire a cannonball. I mean, I don't think he would be standing around here, but just looks very odd. All of it looks like a destroyed, founded place, and then occupied it and did whatever. They give us depictions and paintings like this, Battle of Mobile Bay. Here's the fort, of course. Did this kind of stuff really happen? I would lean no. Another one, 1864 painting. I'm not saying that there wasn't wars and ships blasting each other. I have no idea, but what they tell us, it's just not accurate, because it starts with the building, and the building was already there.